We're live.
Oh, hi. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women Crush Wednesday. I am Cyndi Otteson, and Women Crush Wednesday is where we talk to women who are changing the face of politics and power. From political candidates to policymakers to advocates, we talk to people about how they can engage, empower, and mobilize. The four women you will see or hear tonight and every show are connected through the LA Progressives community and are passionate about supporting women, especially women of color, in their political journey. If you would like to know more about when we will do the next Women Crush Wednesday, you can follow us on Instagram at WCW Politics and Power. And you can also find our panelists on Twitter or Instagram. You'll see their handles tonight. And if there's someone that you want us to talk to, shoot us an email at wcwpoliticsandpower@gmail.com. Joining me tonight is Marie Pavlich, who is a brand strategist and fellow feminist in action. She is joining us from the East Coast. Thank you for staying up with us late tonight.
I love it. Late night with Cyndi.
Yes. And Ebony Murphy-Root, also fellow badass activist, middle school teacher, candidate in waiting, and who sits on the board of Narrow Choice, Bitch Media, and Stonewall Dems LA.
Hello
Hi,
from
Ebony.
Venice tonight. Hi. Nice to see you,
And
friends.
I wanted to have us all say a special thank you to showrunner Sarah Izzo, who is backstage kind of running the show and is integral to our success in the show tonight. Hi, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Cyndi.
And without further ado, I want to introduce Mia Livas Porter, our special guest tonight. Mia is a mother, a gun violence survivor, gun violence prevention activist, community organizer, and a progressive Democrat running to represent the 51st District for the California State Assembly. Welcome to the show, Mia.
Hi, everyone. I'm so psyched to be here.
Hello, Mia.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Good to see you all.
So, Mia, I have gotten to know you very well over the last year. I actually met you while running for office myself in 2020. We run in a lot of the same circles. We're all a part of Feminists in Action and have just been overjoyed to see you run for office. And I know how hard it is. And so wanted to talk to you a little bit about today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe why you ran or why you decided to run.
Sure. So you had already started a little of the intro. I am a mom of two boys, 10 and 13. I am the daughter of Filipino immigrants. I've gotten involved. I started my activism fundraising for public school programs, music, PE, arts. And then in 2018, after Parkland, I joined Moms Demand Action and immediately signed on as an events lead for our local group. And in our first meeting, I had the epiphany, the realization that I was a survivor of gun violence. My brother, almost 30 years now, my brother Junior had died of gun suicide after battling schizophrenia for 5 years. So, I went back and forth on a little imposter syndrome. It didn't seem right comparing my story to other survivors. But, I started to realize that, especially gun violence survivors, it's a spectrum. Whether it's being traumatized, our children being traumatized in the schools, or being afraid to go to a train station or the grocery store because something happened there last week. We are a nation of survivors of gun violence, and I got angry and fed up and wanted to use my voice for change. And so, as a survivor fellow with Moms Demand Action in Everytown, I've shared my story nationally, on television, on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, as well as in Sacramento, hoping to inspire other survivors to step forward and find community, and hopefully to pressure legislators to make change.
Well, thank you for using your lived experience to actually bring more representation to the California State Legislature. I know also, because I know a little bit about your campaign and I've worked on it myself, that if elected, you would be the first Filipina ever to be elected to the California State Legislature. Talk a little bit about that and what that means.
How is this even possible? California has the largest diaspora of Filipinos outside of the Philippines, and yet there hasn't been Filipina representation in either chamber. And on that note, that's another reason. So part of my why of running was to speak out and change gun laws and to have advocate for a safer world, a safer future for all of us in the state, but also representation matters. Was it just last summer, the Atlanta spa shootings? The rise in API hate that, it shut me down for a little bit, but then I got angry, and then I realized that the only way to change things is to run and to show others to run and encourage others to run, which is why I am so grateful for our connection, Cyndi, and how much, you've been an amazing friend, advocate, mentor with my race. I'm so grateful.
It's a special crew, and I know that you and Ebony also know each other because you both are alumni from Emerge. Talk a little bit about Emerge and your experience in being candidates in training.
Ebony, I love you.
Class of 2021.
Woo woo! I know, represent. For me, it was an incredible, eye-opening program experience just to be amongst women. Women supporting women. There is nothing that can stop us. Period. And to be in amongst women wanting to advocate for change politically, to change the face of politics, was awe-inspiring, and it was truly it just strengthened me as a person, as a candidate. I'm so grateful. How did you feel about it, Ebony?
It was amazing to be around sort of 75 or 76 women who were just on a particular path. They, are activists and advocates and teachers and professors and scientists, and all wanting to make a difference in their community. So, when you get a bunch of powerful women together, even on Zoom, it's just going to make you feel like you've got to get your stuff together and get your campaign together as well. So it was a challenging experience, but also just really formative and exciting every time we met.
And I was going to add that I was going to add that I had gone to an all-girl high school, and so there wasn't a cap on limits. Anyone could be. You never doubted that a woman would be the president of the class or run the yearbook or what have you, and that's kind of what it felt like. We only could encourage each other, and it was limitless.
Yeah, I've heard this stat, and I'm sure you have as well, that men make the decision to run in 5 minutes and women make the decision over many years. And so apparently I ran like a man because I made a decision so quickly and was kind of, and had to figure things out. And so just being able to be connected to these amazing networks where we are able to have women empowering women is something that I know is going to produce more women being elected officials and representing us.
So I'm going to jump in here with a question just that other people may have, but I know that oftentimes when we get to local elections, but also like statewide elections, I start to question, like, what do each of these different branches, like what exactly is happening in these places? So can you talk a little bit about what happens in the state assembly? What does the California State Assembly have control of? What are you able to do in this position?
Sure, absolutely. So this the Assembly is the lower chamber of the state legislature. We can, we deal with legislation, laws, but also determining budget. And you know that a budget is representative of a state's values. So right now, we're fortunate to have a super democratic, super, what's the phrase?
Supermajority.
Democracy. Thank
Mhm.
you. That was of Democrats, exactly. Supermajority. Yeah, and so we've been able to make such progress legislatively on so many issues, and that's why right now, how goes California, goes the nation.
Yeah, and I learned through your campaign that California has 80 assembly members,
Right.
which is double the amount of Congress, right? So that was something that I learned, and they represent on average, I can't remember the number.
About
off the top,
450,000.
That's right, 450,000 people, which is a large amount of constituents to represent. So it's incredible that, when we actually think about who our local representatives are, that we actually have more representatives than what people may know. And that assembly members have a good insight into how that budget gets spent within their district, as well as helps to, put in various laws and votes in terms of legislation across the state. So, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, but that's also why we need to push more for all faces of representation, because we really, if we want to find solutions to these issues that we are, this array of issues that we are plagued with, we need to center the voices most impacted. And if you have the same face, representing this different, kinds of communities, it's not serving the needs of the community.
Yeah, I think that kind of segues into maybe our next question. In terms of, I know that you got activated with Moms Demand Action. And so maybe you can, tell us a little bit more about that. And, your experience of taking your lived experience, leveraging that anger and frustration into, running for office, and, what you might want to do, or what problems you want to solve, or what are some of the bills that you want to author once elected?
Fantastic, thank you. Yeah, so with Moms Demand Action, I always say that it's one of the best decisions I ever made walking into that first meeting. Aside from the community working together to advocate for change, you have to remember that, Moms Demand Action spurred out of in response to Sandy Hook, which I think today or the 14th is the 9th anniversary. I think it's December 14th is the 9th anniversary. And so the NRA has been around since the 40s, I think the 30s, 40s. And so what Moms Demand Action has been able to change and to push in 9 years time, is so inspiring. And so you have like 6 million strong people with the same goal. That's what I want to bring to our legislation, to our community, where working together, we can make change, to believe that and to never doubt it. As far as gun safety legislation, for me, especially because of my brother, easy access to guns. Gosh, I don't know the stats, but the likelihood of having a gun when you're in a moment of despair, like my brother, I don't know the exact percentage off the top of my head, but it's I think actually it's 4% of suicide attempts with a gun. Suicide attempts by any other means are completed. Whereas with a gun, it's like 94%, something outrageous like that. And so there are laws like extreme risk protection laws that can temporarily remove access to a gun, either from you or your loved one, if you're concerned that they may be in danger to themselves or to others. There are guns right now. There's ghost guns is an issue, which are guns that basically it's a gun kit which do not have a serial number, and so they are untraceable. And so thing, like we need to be registering guns, but things like ghost guns hinder that kind of wanting to do that. And then there's even 3D printing. You can literally 3D print pieces of guns and put it together. I mean, this mentality of easy access to guns, this movement is not about trying to take away anyone's guns. It's about responsible gun ownership, safe storage. And actually, there was a law that Laura Friedman, AB 452, has been encouraging, has been trying to present on the floor regarding educating parents with safe storage, sending a letter home to parents.
We both called today for AB 452, and I just have it right here, so I'll read it. I know, with the latest Oxford shooting, it's just the latest example of a teen who's had access to guns at home with horrific consequences. And there is a bill in the assembly. Both Mia and I and many of our Feminists in Action group called today to members of the Education Committee to ask them to support, agendize, and prioritize AB 452, which essentially would be a parental notification and essentially allow for safe storage and notification for parents to be basically notified if you have a gun in your home. So it's something where it's an action that we can actually take to call our local representatives, especially the ones who are on that education committee. And that's something that is an easy action. I think it took me less than 10 minutes to call through down the line.
And we know that this works because actually this passed in LA City with LAUSD. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. And it's just the education. People didn't know to ask. And so it also takes off the stigma of parents asking their friends' parents, their kids' friends' parents, do you have a gun at home? Is it safely, securely stored? So,
right, which is like a perfect example of how our elected officials can actually, at the legislative level, protect people instead of putting that onto an individual level.
Yes.
And I know that we have, for people, we're talking here about California politics specifically. I know that there is a link that you can go and look up your California representatives as well as nationally if we have a broad audience here. And Sarah, if you'd be able to add that, amazing. Sarah, you're amazing. You can go to findyourrep.legislature.california.gov. You can type in your address and all of your representatives will show up. If you live outside of California, you can go to openstates.org and you'd be able to enter in your information to pull up who your representatives are.
Super. I haven't used this yet in 8th grade, but I will use this end of this week or next week because everybody should know who their representatives are, even if they can't vote yet. So super important.
I love that you have access to these young minds, and we miss. And she dropped the mic.
I have to say that one of the best things that I learned from somebody, it may have been Jessica Craven, was not only find who your reps are, put them in your phone, put them, star them in your contacts, because it's so easy to call them. And if you're scared about somebody answering, which you should not be because they work for you and they're always kind, call them after hours, leave a message. There are so many ways that you can like make your voice heard. And that was such a huge hurdle that like just putting them in my phone, all of a sudden I was like, oh, that becomes a lot easier. And I'm in Florida now, so I call them all the time.
Right. You have no reason not to.
Yeah.
It's also fun because, it really, and we have a lot of success in this in some of these organizing circles, but it really takes as little as 5 calls to make a difference. If you work for an elected official and you get 5 calls, within a, day or 4 hours, you're like, oh, a lot of people called me today about this one thing. So it actually takes a lot less than what people think to have one action and to get that on the radar of your elected officials. And that's something that a lot of people don't know. And it doesn't take as much time as people think.
Yes, very, very important. I'm so glad, Mia, that you sort of looped in Sandy Hook, I think, because for a lot of us, that really activated us, that really made us take note. And I thought for sure after Sandy Hook that like people would take note and realize we cannot have guns like this in our culture. And that didn't happen. And it shocked me because there were first graders who lost their lives. And so I'm really hoping that, almost a decade after that will really make the changes that we need to make. I want to ask you, what do you wish more people knew about when they decide they want to make change and they want to actually run for office? They want to take whatever action occurred and take a stand by running. What do you think what do you wish they knew about the process? And what do you wish that you had known before deciding to step in as a candidate yourself?
Oh, great question. So actually, Cyndi and I, we had talked about this before. A friend, Sarah Jekyll, actually had said this, and it stuck with us, that, running for office, the fact, define your success. So just by putting your name in the hat is holding, the incumbent accountable. Just by putting your name in the hat, you may inspire others behind you to run. Just by putting your name in the hat, issues that are important to you, you can use that platform. So no matter what happens with my campaign, believe me, I will use whatever platform I can to advocate for gun safety and inform people about, gun safety legislation or safe storage or what have you. So that's as far as messaging, we need to feel empowered if we don't like what we're seeing in our government to go in and change it. And even just by putting our name in the hat, that is enough. And it is hard. I don't want to, believe me. I asked like 30 friends before running the ins and outs, their experiences, was this crazy? I never in a million years thought that this would be the path I would be on. But especially with my race, the incumbent ran unopposed in 2020, and I truly had one of those, if not me, then who moments. And along with that, yes, I was scared from the Atlanta spa shootings, but I'm going to funnel that anger and that fear into action. And what is the greatest action you can take politically other than running for a campaign? So yeah, I mean, I want people to, I grew up with immigrant parents who always gave me the impression, politics was something we stayed out of because they were all about survival. They just wanted to provide for their families. But with our generation, especially with my kids, I need to be the person advocating that for them because my parents didn't know how to for me. And so yeah, it is hard, it is challenging, but we need to take ownership of our government and stop thinking of it as something outside of us or as somebody else's issue. We're running out of time and we need to take action now and step up.
Yes. Chills.
Yes.
I'm like getting
I know.
emotional.
I got them as well. I know, because it does feel like there's constantly this feeling of we're running out of time, but it just feels like it gets more and more. And maybe that's being around children and things like that, where you're like, oh, what are they growing up with? But one of the things that I think about when I think about time is not only what we are trying to deal with and what we're trying to fix, but also the time of a campaign and what actually has to happen during that. I mean, the primaries are in June, right? And then the final election is in November. That's all in 2022. And you need support, right, in order to make it that far. This is not something that can be done alone. The myth of meritocracy, right? Like Mia cannot do this by herself. So as a community that wants to support you, what are the best ways to do that? How do we, us here, but also people watching this, support your campaign? What are the best ways to do that?
Thank you. Yes. So, yes, exactly. We are a grassroots clean money campaign. So that makes it like 1,000 times harder to keep up with an incumbent with deep pockets. So, this is there's a phrase, early money is like yeast, Emily's List. With campaigns, if you are able, I know people are struggling, from COVID, but if you are able to support our campaign with a contribution, if you can't do a larger sum, lump sum, a monthly sum would be amazing. Even a $3 lump sum. We do have our end of year second period reporting period deadline. We are trying to raise 10,000 would be amazing this month, which is not impossible. We raised 25 almost our first month. But if we could raise more than that, all the more formidable a campaign that we will show everyone. A second way to get involved is to volunteer, and we will work with anyone's schedule. There are, and according to their interests. So we have research teams, we have social media, website, phone banking and text banking, field work, hitting the streets. So you can actually, they could all go to our website, miafораssembly.com. Thank you, and sign up to volunteer. And then if you are short on time and short on money, at the very least, if you follow us on social media and get our emails, forward and like on social media our posts, and spread the word with your networks, because this is how we're going to win, is by word of mouth, grassroots. It's like that one commercial in the 80s, and you tell two people and so on and so on.
It's like multi-level marketing for local politics. I always say time or money. Give us your time, your money, or your time or talent or money, right? And I cannot express this enough as somebody who is also a clean money candidate. It is so hard to raise money. It is so hard, but it is the right thing to do, because when you have special interest money, we talk a lot about this a lot as grassroots candidates. If you have special interest money, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars without even trying. You got a staff of a dozen doing your stuff. When you are a grassroots candidate, you might have to have a full-time job. You have children, you have a life. You have to be the candidate, the fundraiser, the social media person, the design person, the accountant. There are so many roles. So it's even more it's more difficult. It feels almost nearly impossible sometimes to do this, which is why this isn't for the faint of heart. But the more people that run for office, the more people that get involved and join can understand how difficult it actually is. And really, when we're asking for support and volunteers, it's not as scary as you think. When I was running for office, people would be like, I'm so afraid of knocking on doors. Well, guess what? We have postcards that you can write for Mia. You have an opportunity to call 5 of your friends and ask them to donate $25. And that would be raising $125 for Mia. There's so many ways for you to get involved. And the best way that we can do that is by you joining a volunteer meeting and seeing all the ways that we can support Mia. And there's so many great ways to do it.
Thank you. Yeah, I had actually looked at my incumbent's numbers, and she's raised 160 with 55 donations. We've raised about half of that, with a little more than half of that, with over 1,000 donations. So we are plugging along, but and the campaign, the donations are to cover voter data, staff, mailers, which can cost up to $30,000, especially for a district as large as ours. Mailers can cost $30,000 each, but that is how we're going to reach out to voters and let them know, because we need to inspire them to get to the ballots, and we need to educate them as to why we are the best candidate.
Thank you for sharing that, because voters do not know where the donations are going. So that was very helpful and clear. Where is the money going? It's going for mailers. It's going to figure out who can vote for us and how do we get to them. Super helpful.
And even voter data, to be able to even get the information of who are registered voters. And the biggest barrier that grassroots candidates like Mia and myself also had was just letting people know that you're an option. I was in my race, I was outspent by $1.2 million, a lot of special interest money. I still placed second. And the candidate who's running is now running for another position while being elected to the position he said that he would fully serve his term. Not only that, but he also has an open campaign for an additional seat in 2026. So this is the way that special interest comes in and buys candidates. And to them, it's no big deal if they lose one race, right? This is why we need your support. $5, $10, $15, $20. If you're rich, max it out. $4,500. Call your rich friends and donate to Mia's campaign so that we don't have to call you on New Year's Eve, because I will do it.
All right, so how do we vote for you? How do I know if I'm registered, if I'm in your district? Will a ballot come in the mail? How do I find out this information? How do I tell my friends who are in your district, this is a candidate you can vote for?
So you can register. What was that?
Friends puppy. Hi, pups. Pups can't vote, but they're excited.
So the primary, as someone had said earlier, is June 6th. We're going to need help actually January, February, getting signatures so that we can get my campaign on the ballot. So, and then as far as registering to vote, so if you can volunteer, help us in January, February, really, really appreciate it. Look at that sweet pup. As far as registering to vote, for you, Secretary of State, I know that there's is it vote.org is the link. And you can register to get your ballot in the mail, which was amazing. You know, during the 2020 elections, the turnout was great because of that. So yeah. And there's also, which escapes me right now, a link where you can, it's like a ballot track.
You can check. Yep.
Yes. And it will tell you when your ballot is received. Ballot tracker or ballot tracks, I think.
Yes, we can look it up.
So how does the process go for getting the signatures you need in January? Is that like a door-to-door thing? Is that like at farmers markets, or how are people helping and volunteering in that situation?
We will need teams to, yes, ask people to sign on to door-to-door, exactly everything you just said. Farmers markets, reaching out to walking the streets, the community, to get people to sign within the district. And I believe we need 1,000 signatures, or you can pay, but we would rather not. I mean, we want to know that this district wants our campaign. So we are going to get those signatures.
So you can sign up to volunteer at miafораssembly.com.
Thank you. And thank you for the ballot tracks link. Awesome.
We'll see if we can get that up. And the primary is June 7th, 2022. So we just yesterday hit the 6-month mark from when the primary is, which is incredible. It's going to go by fast.
Yeah, sorry, I think I said the wrong date earlier. Yes, the 7th.
It's okay. You would not be human if you knew
June 7th. We got it.
Yeah, June 7th.
And if I don't know if we mention that the top 2 right now, it's just me and the incumbent, but the top 2 go on to November to the general.
It's just that's such a long time that you have to be in it and stay motivated. How are you doing that? For myself, for so many things, I just have to like get through my emails tomorrow. So if you can give me some tricks and tips on how you're staying motivated and staying dedicated to this race and to this fight, like what keeps you in this?
Well, you know, again, Moms Demand Action trained me well as far as prioritizing self-care. So, you know, if it's walking my dog or literally laying in bed and just petting her for 30 minutes, you know, or I'm a girly girl, I like my manicure pedicures. If I can do that, you know, once a month. But also, as a survivor, I do go to therapy. I do promote mental, helping, prioritizing your mental health with therapy. And then, you know, unfortunately, it seems like every time you turn on the computer or the TV, you hear about some incident of gun violence, something happening in road rage, on the streets, in schools, what have you, that it's not an option. I have to keep going because I'm pissed and I want this to change, and we have to do this for our children. You know, I really feel like as an adult we have failed to keep our kids safe, and it makes me angry. And so I am compelled to keep going. You know, I'll take a breather when I have to. I'll you know, wipe away tears, and then I'll be ready to fight the next day.
Yeah.
Thank
I just
you.
want to say thank you so much, Mia, because You know, not only are you somebody who is a person running for office, but you are a gun violence survivor yourself. And so when you add that layer on top of running for office, which is, we know, the most difficult thing that we've ever had to do, you know, I just have so much heart and just so much admiration for how brave you are, for how courageous you are, that you get up every day and are in this fight. And we are here, you know, with you, supporting you. And so thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing your real humanity too, because I think people see folks who run for office and they think, I couldn't do that, but you're a real person. I see you in the community. You're a mom. You're at the farmer's market. You're singing. You have a manicure. Like, you know, we need real people who are running for office who really share their lived experience for us. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm just
Speaking
doing
of
the best
singing,
I can.
oh, please.
Which reminds me,
Yeah.
there is a fundraiser. If you are
Yes.
local and in LA, there is a fundraiser this Saturday in Eagle Rock. You can go to Mia for Assembly. You click on events and you will see, and Mia is a very talented singer, and I am very curious to hear her sing. I've been asking her to do it. And so you can hear Mia as well as other local LA activists sing. The fundraiser is called Fundraise Our Voices, and you can check it out on the website. And there's still opportunities to RSVP. It's 1 to 3 p.m.
I am so excited for this event. I'm a little nervous to perform because it's not, you know, I'm not used to it, but I am thrilled for this event. Working with our friends Jessica Stamen, working with Jessica Stamen on specifically Ballads Over Broadway. I remember the first one sitting next to her listening to Shoshana Bean sing. And we were like, gosh, I wish we could do this. And so this is our opportunity to flip the switch, you know, take the mic and use and show off our hidden talents, because many of the activists performing, a lot of people were like, I didn't know Jessica Craven could sing. I didn't know, Stamen could sing. So we are thrilled to have this opportunity.
I mean, I think that there's, I don't know, some liberation or something in making this fun, you know, like making this process fun, because so much of it is like, there's, you know, dragging you through things and what you have to deal with and the people that you have to deal with sometimes. And just the idea of really turning this into something fun and thinking about running for office is both hard work, but also like a really exciting opportunity. I think that that's how we get more people to run also is talking about what's amazing about it, not just the scary elements, because just like we said, men are making those decisions because they're probably like, this is going to be great for connections.
Exactly.
Like my business is going to grow, you know, whatever it is that motivates people. So
I love that, Marie. It's so true, because we do need to have that enjoyment. And so much of what running for office is difficult. So as long as we can find those moments of joy and enjoy it, we'll get through it.
100% agree.
And it's okay to be in it for different reasons, to be brought in because you care about a particular issue, but also because you care about people and you like the people that you meet and you want to make your community better for the people that you care about. I think that's super important too. I just, I think people get turned off from politics because they think it's all full of fake people. And I've met some really real people who I admire. They're cool. They read great books. They just want to make the community better. They want other people to have access to healthy food. They want people to have access to quality education. Those are all wonderful values, right? It can be a value-driven, fun, human-driven activity. It doesn't have to you out. So I think that's important to remember too.
Absolutely.
Which is like, it's your speech for when you announce your run for office, finally, Ebony.
Yes.
They like good books. They want to do good for the community.
Is an amazing teacher, and we're waiting. We'll be there.
We'll see what opens up in Long Beach.
I cannot wait.
All right. Well, I don't know if there are any last questions, but before we go, I want to make sure that we plug a few more things and just make sure that people visit Mia for Assembly. And if we can pop that back up there, you can find all the sorts of things that you need, like more about Mia, a lovely lovely background in her family. I was reading that and I was like, I want to meet your parents. And you can find the way to donate and also to attend these joyful events that are going to be coming up. So please go and visit that. And you can also volunteer if right now donating is not something that you can do. You can give time as well, as Cyndi mentioned. So please consider looking at that. And remember, in January, we're going to need help getting the signatures. In June 7th is the primary. And then November 8th, 2022, in case you have your Google Calendar up, you want to just put it in there. That is the general election. So get those things in there. And then you can follow Mia on, I believe all the social channels are Mia for Assembly, correct?
Yeah.
Twitter,
Exactly.
Instagram, all those places. So please follow Mia, and you can follow all of the lovely women here, Cyndi and Ebony and myself, but also follow Women Crush Wednesday, Politics and Power. It's on Instagram and on Twitter. That's also our Gmail in case you have anyone that you want us to talk to or you would like to be part of these conversations. So it's Women Crush Wednesday, WCW, Politics and Power at Gmail. And before we go, is there any last things that you would like to bring to the people, Mia, or any last, requests that you have?
Actually, I just want to take a minute to thank you all for this space here. I just am so grateful for the community of activists that I've met on my journey that want to uplift each other. And truly, the women I met are fierce, and that I'm fortunate to have attracted women who are operating from their heart, from the goodness of their heart, because we care. We want to make a difference because we care and we want a better world. And so I just love, and I'm a firm advocate for women supporting women. And I am so grateful that, for Women Crush Wednesday. Thank you, the three of you, so much. And thank you.
Women Crush Wednesday, Politics, Power, and Joy. I love it.
Yes, this was so fun. Wasn't it
you,
so
guys.
fun?
It was. Thank you.
Look forward to it all day. Yes.
Thank you for being our second one this year. We say that we do it regularly, which we do because we make up our own rules. So you might see us next month, next week, or probably next year also, which is just a month away. So join us again. And thank you so much, Mia. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Ebony. And thank you to our amazing showrunner, Sarah Izzo.
Thank you, Sarah.
Good night.
Bye.